Welcome to the Credential As You Go initiative, which explores how to transform the nation's credentialing system to include incremental credentials to build a fairer system that recognizes and formally documents what learners know and can do. This is the fourth of our mini conferences. The first focused on making the case, the second on policy, practice, and process, and the third on building incremental credentials, part one. The focus today is on communications and marketing, how to get the word out about incremental credentials. Getting the word out effectively requires both marketing and communications. Here's a quick way to think about the difference between these. Marketing's main goal is to educate and advertise a product, a service, idea, or organization. In our case, the availability of specific incremental credential programs, especially for students and employers. Communications focuses on conveying a specific message that is not necessarily related to advertising. In our case, the message may be making the case for the importance of an incremental credentialing system, to raise awareness of new approaches, and to build a commitment to transform our credentialing system in the U.S. Credential As You Go is an initiative that is a movement, really, to transform the nation's credentialing system to an incremental credentialing system. There are three main types of communications and marketing in the movement. To build awareness of incremental credentialing through a national campaign. This involves getting the message out through social media, newsletters and websites, news reports, and presentations and webinars. Communications also is very key at the state level, where there is news of legislative changes and policymaker calls for change and specific actions. There is state approval of new programs, which typically is reported on websites. Governors talk about changes in their state's credentialing system in speeches and announcements, and college and university leaders do the same, which often garners state-level widespread attention. And there is significant communications and marketing at the credential provider level. Here are 8 key avenues credential providers use to get the word out. Some providers use a number of these, others only a few. The main avenue for getting the word out is through websites and college catalogs. Credential providers may have multiple websites to use, the all-campus website and/or the program website. They also use their college catalogs. In some cases, there will be a different catalog for credit courses and programs and non-credit. Providers often include wage information plus returns on investment data for various credentials. They describe pathways and courses, including prerequisites and costs. They often feature stories of successful students in credential programs at the website and may include messages of employers indicating they value certain credentials. Employers are an important avenue for getting the word out, especially larger employers. They provide information through their newsletters, intranet emails, and website to employees that might include describing the program, providing information about the employer's tuition assistance programs, news of a new partnership with colleges and universities, the availability of apprenticeships and other learner work options that include short-term credentials. High-level leadership can build credibility for incremental credentials via audio or video messages at program and college websites. Academic advising and PLA offices provide information directly to learners and assess skills and other types of learning acquired outside the academic classroom through various types of assessments. Some credential providers submit their credentials to their system-level database if they are in a system that consolidates credentials, or may submit their credentials to national or international platforms and/or intermediary websites. Credential providers often carry the message about new credentials and credential pathways through posters and flyers posted around campus and employer and community sites. Flyers are also used in direct mail. Social media is an important way to get the word out as well, using Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, blogs, etc. And verifying and recording learning on traditional transcripts is an important approach as well, including all credentials in the college transcript and working with students to include in their e-portfolios and resumes. The next several slides include examples of the various approaches. We'll go through these very quickly, but know that this video will be available later if you want to go back and use information from these examples for work you're doing. This is an example of a state-level database of credentials to enable marketing and communications about credentials at multiple institutions. This is the SUNY Microcredentials page. When you click the purple bar, find your SUNY Microcredential link on the home page, the search feature shown in the second image comes up. This is an example from Wake Tech Community College's website showing how credentials are linked to workforce titles. As students search through the available options, they can see the detail of each, which includes the intended audience, description, price, outlines, and requirements. They also have a link to register on the same page. Mohawk Valley Community College's microcredential webpage is an example of a separate site by school area and listing available microcredentials for that particular school. The green box is the image that pops up when you select any of the available programs. This is an example of marketing for a stackable credentials pathway at Mohawk Valley Community College in the area of remotely piloted aircraft systems. Students, employers, and others can see the flexible entrance and exit points and 3 microcredentials that enable students to go right into employment as a drone maintenance technician or a drone pilot or a GIS technician. The pathway also enables moving through these credentials with additional coursework and a capstone to the associate degree requirements. Here's an example of a badge being marketed through the University at Albany SUNY in cooperation with Credly, a global open badge platform. A badge issued through the Credly platform is a digital representation of a learning outcome, experience, or competency. Here's an example of information the University of Colorado at Boulder is providing about 3 new microcredential and digital badge programs at their website. Here's an example of a third-party provider, AARP, which is working with MindEdge Learning to offer courses to boost careers of the 50-plus population. Learners can earn certificates from MindEdge Learning to let prospective employers know they are bringing marketable skills. The University of Maryland Global Campus is marketing ways to turn your industry certification into college credit. This example falls into the advising and PLA bucket mentioned earlier. Our last example is an intermediary that offers a platform of non-credit and credit short courses from community colleges that participate in Unmuddle. We've been talking up till now as if getting the word out about incremental credentials, especially to students and employers, is an issue solely of effective marketing. But there are many challenges in this work that speak to the core issue of transforming the nation's degree-centric system to an incremental credential system. To put it another way, all the marketing in the world will not be effective without addressing many of the challenges in our system, such as how we title and describe a non-degree credential. Without clear and sufficient information about the credential, learners and employers will be confused and the marketing is likely to be ineffective. There are many competing priorities at campuses that result in non-degree or microcredentials being put last on marketing lists for attention. The new credentials often compete with traditional certificate and degree programs, and there may not be a commitment by various groups at the campus to market all credentials equally. Ways to make the content of credentials look attractive and communicate well to learners and employers through the many marketing approaches available are also major challenges. Faculty typically are not marketers. Communication staff are needed to help get the word out. But the staffing challenges are very significant. Many offices at campuses are short-staffed and there is high turnover of staff. These staffing challenges contribute to difficulties in marketing new credentials. Also, if learners and employers do not think the credential is high quality, all the marketing in the world will not convey trust in the new credentials. And principles of good practice in marketing new credentials are seldom identified, but they're needed to guide efforts to get the word out. We hope this quick review of communications and marketing around incremental credentialing has been helpful. If you would like to learn more, there are many ways to reach us. We would welcome your feedback on communications and any questions. Here are questions we've identified to start. What types of communications and marketing have you found to be most successful to get the word out? What are your biggest challenges in getting the word out? And what type of assistance would you like to have from Credential as you go to help with communications and marketing.